Hi, good afternoon. I'm Bea Cupin and welcome to Rappler Talk. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but if, like me, you live on the internet, I'm sure you've seen story upon story of Filipinos competing in pageants abroad. Heads up, it's pageant season. So it's the perfect time, to talk about pageants. Why does it captivate the Philippines and the rest of the world? So we are really lucky to have with us today Voltaire. He's our resident pageant expert. Like, you can ask him anything about pageants and he'll be able to answer. He's also the co-host of The People's Queen, a new reality, it's a reality series,
Yes.
right? About 5 women who you mentor
Yes.
to compete in beauty pageants. And we also have Michelle Thorland, is that the correct
Yes.
pronunciation of your name? With Yan Pilipinas Overseas Communities 2016. So welcome to Rappler. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so The People's Queen. What is it all about? What was the filming experience like?
Well, the filming was something I wasn't really prepared for. And, it was something very interesting and also very enriching.
Right.
But nothing prepares you to be like on TV, to be like on camera. You have the mic pack and then you're in front of the camera, but then you're like really working.
Yeah.
We like to call it like a documentary workplace.
Right. Right.
It's a docu-workplace series, but it's really reality,
Oh, yeah,
sort
yeah,
of.
yeah.
But we're really working. It's not like anything was scripted in that
Right,
sense.
right,
So
right.
anything that they see going on in the show,
Right. All the
is-
struggles.
yes,
Yeah.
and all of the fatigue on your face, it's all there. Like they couldn't put the makeup on.
Yeah, yeah,
No, but it really started because in 2017, my friend CC Asuncion, who is the owner and director of Slay Model Management, he was a judge, a preliminary judge in Miss Universe 2017, and I interviewed him there. But afterwards, because we've been friends
Yeah.
since the 90s, hindi pa
Okay.
siya pinanganak. You weren't born yet. So, and right after the pageant, we're like, there must have been a bigger purpose why, after all these years, like, we meet each other.
Yeah.
I'm doing this in this capacity, and you're there as this. And then he brought up the idea, like, what do you think about, like, we put up a pageant school where we train women, but let's do it in a TV show. I'm like, I like that. And then
Right,
so
right.
we did a short video which we sent as our audition.
Oh wow! So it was really just.
So
you
he
wanted-
pitched it,
Yeah.
yeah. So before I left, to go back to Manila,
Yeah.
we did a short video of me and him just being interviewed and talking.
Okay.
And
Just being yourself,
then and then he
basically, yeah.
pitched it, and then from there, parang, oh my gosh, they like it. And then at that point, it's like, wait, what do you mean they liked it?
Right.
And so it went through a whole series of, of course, approvals and all that, and waiting for it to be actually greenlit. It was nerve-wracking because at that point you already get so invested in the idea, and you get super excited. So ko ganito pala yung mga like, like the
behind
people,
the scenes of it
yeah, the
all,
behind
yeah.
the scenes of like TV shows. That's why, there's so much of that anxiety. So if you don't have like a solid foundation,
Yeah.
you're gonna crack.
Right.
So then it happened,
Yeah.
and that's what we have now.
Yeah.
It's been great.
I'm just curious. How did you select the 5 of them who you mentored in a span of how long was the?
It was
the
about,
whole
well,
boot
for me it was
camp?
like 2
Is
months.
it correct to call it a boot camp?
Yes,
It
it
is,
was-
right? It was, right?
Literally.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
For me it was about 2 months, but then for the women it was about a month and a half, I'd say. And when we initially were talking about like who are we going to put in the show, because it's going to be on TFC,
Yeah.
and we were trying to target like a wider market. At first, the idea also of, are we going to have just Filipinos, or are we going to have like other nationalities? But then, because, we're Filipino, and we're like, no, I really want to train somebody who's going to wear a Philippine sash. Or a Filipina wearing another sash, which is like USA, but then you still have that Filipino pride ingrained
of
in it.
course, yeah.
So what we decided, like I already knew Katarina from her previous pageant,
Yeah.
and Cece's friends with Katrina.
Yeah.
So we first talked about the ones that we knew personally, and then from there we started asking other people. And looking on Instagram,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and then from there it's like, hey, can you call this person, get in touch with her and see. And that's how Nikita and Michelle
Yeah.
came in. And then, of course, Jenny is a friend of Cece's, of Kathy.
Yeah. I'm curious, what made you want to join? I mean, like 6 weeks of your life.
For the show?
Yeah.
Well, I've loved doing pageants since I first started, and I know that it's going to be like a Filipino TV show filmed in America, and
Yeah.
I'm an American Filipino.
Yeah.
So I thought that something got kind of like close to home for me, and so I was very interested in doing it because I love being around people that make me feel like I'm at home, and Voltaire is like that. And I do have plans to compete in pageants in the Philippines, and I figured there's like a perfect opportunity to expand my knowledge and learn more.
Right. Okay, let's go back to basics. I think, obviously, the pageant role is very complicated, right? Like when I first got introduced to it, it was mind blowing. The hard work that goes behind the scenes. I mean, like behind the glamour is just like grit and exhaustion and tears sometimes, right? So okay, let's go to basics. Why do you think pageantry is so fascinating, especially in the Philippines? Right.
I've always said in the Philippines, pageantry is like much bigger than what we anticipated or than in other countries, because it really represents the hopes and dreams of the country.
Yeah.
From the time of Gloria Diaz and Margie Moran, and I always say this, I think it really started during that time, even before with the Carnival Queens, but we've always had a fascination with it. We're a very matriarchal society. We love women. We empower women even before there was women empowerment. Just talk about your moms and your lolas that really
celebrated.
Yes, the women are really
femininity is
it wasn't just
celebrated.
about their beauty, but it's really women were really celebrated by the Filipinos to begin with. But then in the 1960s and 70s, like with Gloria and Margie, you have to remember during that time, suddenly television was accessible to a lot of people, and it captured, for me, this is what I think, it captured the imagination of like the nation. Wow.
Parang, wow,
Filipina.
I'm seeing her on international
Yes,
television.
you know, and she wasn't biracial, and she was very Filipina,
Yeah.
and then suddenly she's competing with all these, tall glamazons, and back then it was like all the blondes and blue-eyed.
It's
Nor-
representation.
Yes.
That's me.
And then suddenly nanalo siya.
Yeah.
So parang the whole nation was like, wait, ang galing ng Filipina. And
Pwede
then
pala yun.
a few years later, it was Margie Moran,
Yeah.
and during that time, we were also a powerhouse during that time because we were always in the semifinals. So I think that captivated the nation during that time,
Right.
and I think that just carried forward culturally.
Yeah.
Tsaka masaya siya.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It feels like a competition. It's a competition, obviously, but almost like sporting
Yes.
competition. Almost like how competitive it can be, right? Like people crying, being very emotional over.
It brings the nation together the way that
Yeah.
sports brings people together.
Yeah, and I think that's something people quite don't understand yet, or they refuse to understand yet.
Yeah.
For Michelle, what drew you to? How old were you when you started, or what sparked your idea that, you know what, maybe I can excel in pageantry?
I actually, growing up, I always watched the Miss Universe pageants with my mom on TV, and I thought I could never do that. And then as I got older, I was actually scouted, like shopping at a mall, and a lady asked me if I wanted to join a beauty pageant. And at first I was like, oh no, like, that's so not me. But then I figured, why not? You know, there's so many opportunities that life gives you, and if this is one of them, might as well take it.
Right.
And I realized that's something that I really enjoy doing because it really does bring people together the way you were talking about. Not even just between like countries and stuff like that, between the girls. You learn so much from other people. You learn so much about yourself from competing. It's really, I think, a competition with yourself the most.
Right.
And I think now these days I'm more confident in myself than I was before, and people think that pageantry kind of brings girls down or degrades them.
Like people think it's catty.
Yeah,
You know.
but honestly, I feel like I feel better about myself after doing pageants, and that's why I still do it.
Right. Was there anything that surprised you when you first joined your first pageant? Like,
It's kind of the way I expected it to be, but girls aren't catty like they are, like, you know, like people say they
in the
are.
movies.
Yeah, it's
On
not like
TV,
that. It's a lot more welcoming than you think.
right. So talk to us about the experience of you lived in the same house or no, or you worked in the same house?
Yes. Well, the only thing that I asked for was that I live somewhere else.
You needed a break.
At,
You couldn't
at
work.
this age, it's like I've never lived with a roommate, so I don't think I can live with
Yeah.
5 women.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like,
what
I don't
is
want to see their mess. No, I'm just kidding.
What was it like though? The 6 weeks, 6 weeks for you, 8 weeks for you.
It's very interesting to go in there in the morning. It's very different from like a job. Like the 9 to 5 job. You go in the morning and then you do your thing, the
Then
routine.
you can forget about it.
Yeah, and then
after.
there are times where you can kind of like, be dazed at whatever, like during the day and take a nap or whatever. But this one, it's like you get there about 7 or 8 in the morning.
Wow.
And then, so you're mic'd. So you have to be conscious of everything that you're saying because it's going to be recorded. And then at the same time, there's scenes during the day, but you're not in every scene. But then by the time that you get to your scene, you have to be on. That was the stressful or like taxing part for me. Because I like taking naps in the afternoon.
The
And then
siesta.
suddenly it's like, hindi ako pwede mag-siesta because it's like ayokong bagong gising. And then
You
your
have to be
brain
on
has to
top.
be,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Cece has pictures of me like
Oh God.
falling
napping.
asleep, like napping or something. And I'm like, wait.
Oh,
I'm like
no.
trying to hide na.
Yeah. What was it like?
Filming?
Yeah.
It was a really good experience. I've never lived somewhere with so many girls before, but luckily everyone that I met on the show was so amazing and everyone was really nice.
Yeah.
It was good to be there. It was very different. I mean, honestly, it's not that far from home for me because I live in Orange County and we were filming in LA, but it felt a lot different than the way I usually feel when I'm staying in LA.
Just because of the environment, the people surrounding you. I'm
Yeah,
guessing,
and then
yeah.
knowing that you're there for a show.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was great.
Right.
Yeah.
It helped that we had a really beautiful house.
It
Yeah.
was.
That we
It
were
looked-
staying
It looked
in.
pretty from the
It's very
previews
beautiful,
and the trailers.
and
Yeah.
they have an amazing backyard.
Yeah.
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 That's where you did some of the challenges, right?
Yes. And
Your face, you're like, yeah.
yes, the challenge. Oh my gosh! And also, parang it was close to summertime.
Oh.
So during
mainit na.
it was so hot.
Yeah, it was really warm.
It was really
Okay.
hot. Tapos I go, oh my gosh, sunburn ako.
SPF. Always use SPF.
Yes, we do.
What was the goal of the show?
Well, the goal of the show, when we talked about it, CC and I made sure that we don't want to just be training women how to walk, how to dress, how to do their hair and makeup. It wasn't going to be a tutorial on being a pageant contestant.
Okay.
We wanted a broader message. That's why we brought in a lot of, there's a lot of the biracial Filipinas,
Right.
because we want to show to other Filipinos, like just because somebody's biracial or lives in the States means that they're well off, that they're privileged, that they're rich.
Yeah.
Kasi pagpunta sa Philippines, nag-i-English, people always assume mayaman yan. But they also struggle. Like they have to work.
Yeah, people don't realize that.
They don't
right?
realize
Like,
that. That's why we wanted
there's
to-
hustle. There's
They
there's
do.
so it's difficult.
And on top of that, they have their school, they have their work, and then they're going to join a pageant. So it's really not that easy.
Yeah.
But they make it look easy. That's the admirable thing about these women. It's they look so put together at that age. And then when
Yeah.
I think like at that age, you make me do all of that. I'm not going to be that put together.
I know, I'm so amazed by contestants who are like barely an adult. I mean, that's so difficult, ha? Na
Yeah.
parang, again, it's about competing against yourself. It's not
Yeah.
so much as beating the other girl, but like getting over like the mental handicap of like you get psyched out.
Yes.
I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, some people do, but I think that after competing in pageants, you start learning how to take control of yourself and look at things in a better way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why our approach was also very holistic. We had a lot of parts of the training and in the episodes where it was more introspective, where the women were given a chance to, like figure out who they are, where they're going. Because with pageants, when you talk about empowered women, there's a lot of talk about empowered women, and in the pageants they sometimes say it a lot. It's almost
It's a
overused
buzzword,
na
yeah.
rin. But we wanted to make sure that when they say it, they know where it's coming from, and they actually are those empowered women.
It's not just an
It's not a
empty
slogan.
buzzword.
It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
a
yeah.
It
phrase.
has meaning.
Yeah, and that's why in our training, even the way now, like with let's say for Katarina, who's currently competing, and then
He's
Nikita.
flew to China. right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We leave a lot of the decisions to them.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to do this? How do you want to do that? We discuss it with them.
Right.
We've given them the foundation, and then from there they make their own decisions.
Right.
And that's how you win. And it's not just about winning the pageant, but it's winning in life.
Right.
Because like, if you can't decide what you want to do in a pageant to win, it's going to be much more difficult in life afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. I also have to ask because there are recent scandals over like pageants based in the Philippines, and then because of those scandals, like people are like you have politicians or like personalities saying, the whole concept of pageantry is so misogynistic. It's
Mhm.
very anti-feminist. And I think we interviewed Katarina actually the other day, and she said something about like she understands where it comes from.
Mhm.
Because if you don't understand something, the tendency is to hate it or to reject
Mm.
it. So, where do pageants, anong kinalagyan ng pageants, I guess, in this world where, we're telling women na, your face does not define you or,
Mhm.
or societal standards do not define you. Parang, may ano din kasi, diba? Parang it's ironic, I guess,
Yes.
because ultimately beauty pageants have beauty standards, right? So what's its role in society now?
See, here's the thing that I always found very funny
Yeah.
is there's all these people who are against pageants,
Mhm.
but the women, they forget that these women chose to be in those pageants.
Yeah.
So you're in essence, you're not respecting the decision that they
Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
They know where they're going and they
Yeah.
know how to do this. They're adults,
Right.
so they know
Right.
what they get themselves into.
Right.
I do understand where the concern is because there have been a lot of pageants that have exploited some women.
Yeah.
But it's not just pageantry that exploited women,
Yeah.
it's just the workforce in general and just in
Anywhere,
general,
right?
yeah.
If
So it's like,
you're-
why are you just focusing on pageantry? Are you mad at the fact that there's the vanity that's involved, or like
Okay.
it's sending the wrong message? But whatever you do, it's how you discern whatever's going on around the world. You can't control everything. So, and for me, I hope that what they see, what I see, because I cover pageants and I actually talk to the women, know where they come from. You have a lot of these women that come from provinces, small towns, and they have these hopes and their dreams, not of helping their family.
Yeah.
It's not because tingin nila, ako yung pinakamaganda, mananalo ako. There's something deeper. They want to improve their life.
Yeah.
They have a dream, and nobody should prevent anybody from
Right.
trying to reach their dreams.
Right.
And I think that's, as long as your pageant, the women join, it's rooted in those dreams
Right.
and in that desire to improve your life.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything ever wrong with that, and I think that will always be relevant.
Right. And I think people should remember pretty is not enough. Like you
No.
can be a pretty face and you can like lose really badly if you don't have the other like, right? Okay. From someone who has obviously been has joined the pageant, like what do you say to that when people are like, it's so misogynistic, it's very anti-feminist?
I have to say that for people, I mean, I understand where that's coming from. But I think that when it comes to pageants, you're really trying to put on the best version of yourself. And some people take that as vanity or being full of yourself, but you want to put the best version of you out there for people to see and to remind yourself that that's who you are, and that we all have bad days, but we have good days as well, and that's what we want to portray when we do pageants. As for scandals, I have to say that there are things that go on bad for women everywhere, and pageants aren't an exception.
Yeah.
But the fact that girls do stand up for things like that and it does get out there, I think shows that we do have a voice,
Right.
and that's what pageants do for us.
Right.
Yeah, and she brings up a very good point because it's not the fault of a pageant that the men are misogynist.
Yeah.
Or that they
Yeah,
take
it's like
advantage,
victim
or
blaming, actually,
yeah,
think about
it's
it.
almost like, why are you blaming the pageant for the behavior of these people?
Yeah.
It's not the pageant's fault. It's not the women's fault. But the
It's
great
the bad person's
it's the
fault.
bad person's fault.
Yeah.
So, but right now, the great thing is, the women in pageants are finally speaking up.
Yeah.
They really do feel empowered. to
It's a
say
more
it.
safe
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
I guess,
Exactly.
for
It's almost like that victim blaming.
yeah.
You know, like why blame the pageant?
So like finally people are like, no way.
Well,
We can't,
when I
like-
say pageant,
yeah.
I don't know, the organizers
Yeah.
need to be blamed.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me make that
Yeah,
clear.
if you don't do things right.
But the
of
women that
course,
are in the
yeah.
pageants shouldn't be blamed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Mm.
that's what I don't understand also because like why would you shame someone for wanting to join a competition in whichever way, be it a sporting competition or pageantry.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to focus on that also because people think that just because you walk around in high heels and in gowns, it's easy. Or like because you look pretty when you're on cam.
Yeah.
Right? They have no idea how crazy the world, like the backstage world, can be, right? So, were there things that you learned from the show that you didn't really know beforehand?
I think I found a little bit more of my voice and why I want to do pageants. Because it's really not just about you. It's really about what you're doing for other people. And, you know, I mean, everyone has like, a lot of girls, they have platforms, they have charities that they care about. And that's what matters the most. And just knowing that there are women out there who care about you, other queens and whatnot, who really do care about the future of our world, it makes a difference.
Yeah, the sad part is the people who don't care for the pageants, they're immediately dismissive of the women and they diminish the hard work that they put in.
Yeah.
Because, go back to high school, if there's a pretty girl, sasabihin, ganda kasi
Maganda
yan
lang
eh.
yan.
Oo. Yung parang gaganunin, a little bit of that bitterness or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But they put in so much work. They're literally like athletes. They have the discipline and the
I didn't realize
patience.
that you need to have your core strong in order to survive walking in heels.
It makes
I
it
didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Like the abs aren't there for vanity. They're there so you don't like
To support.
Fall over.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until
Yeah.
recently. That's
And-
crazy.
Parang sabihin mo na lang, like some of the girls that have been competing for so many years, can you be on a consistent diet for like 2 years, you know, and then come pageants like you're just eating kamote and broccoli and you know they're literally like athletes,
Yeah.
and I wish that they would be respected more for that.
Yeah.
That it's not just a vanity thing. That it's
Yeah.
really about, you know, pursuing a goal.
Yeah. Yeah. You shouldn't shame people
No.
for whatever goal they want, right?
Mhm.
Maybe people. Okay, we've talked about the
Yeah.
show and pageantry in general, but maybe people are wondering. Okay, so where can they watch it? It's showing now.
Yes,
Premiered already.
it premiered already.
Where can they catch it abroad and in the Philippines? I'm guessing.
In the U.S., well, in North America, and everywhere else around the world, it's on TFC, Lifestyle Network, and on Mix TV.
Okay.
And in the Philippines, it's showing on Metro Channel, on the HD, which is I guess Channel 74 on Sky Cable, and Channel 52
Yeah.
on Sundays, and then
Yeah.
there's repeats during the week.
Is it online? Can they stream
Right
it?
now, it's
Legally?
not online yet.
Legally.
Legal wala pa.
We don't want illegal streaming.
Kung may illegal, sabihin mo.
Sumbong mo sa kanya para anuhin niya.
We don't know yet, but it will be in the future on
Okay.
the VODs, the video on
Okay.
demand platforms.
Yeah.
So we're going to be waiting for that too.
Yeah. Okay, I want to zoom out a little more because like I mentioned earlier, it's pageant season. Sunod-sunod, right? We've had one in the Philippines and then in Japan. Recently, there's another one. No.
There was
and
Miss
then-
International in Japan
Yeah, and then we have Miss World and Miss Universe coming.
and Supranational.
Supranational coming in the coming months. Why do I think it really just boggles me? Like, why do aside from the fact that obviously the Philippines is enamored with pageants, no matter how many haters there are, right? And these people still watch the pageants, some of these haters. But like, what makes the Filipinas stand out? You think in competitions?
I think the Filipinas. Do you know the book by Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers?
Yeah.
When you've trained enough and when you've invested so much
the
time.
Grit. Again, you go back to the hard work, no?
Yeah, because we've become outliers. It's not like in the 1960s where a pretty girl can wake up, I'm going to join the regional pageant and I can just brush my teeth,
Yeah.
put on a gown, and that's it.
Walk around,
That's
that's
how it
fine.
was in the past. But throughout all these years, it's evolved.
Right.
And the competition has evolved, the walks have evolved, the looks of the gowns, hair and makeup. It's changed. So the Filipinas and the Filipinos have really kept up. The passion and love that they have for pageantry never wavered. Even during the times when we weren't making it, like in the 90s, we still would support the women
Yeah.
just as we would any other
Yeah.
any other contestant.
competition.
Yeah. And then suddenly in 2010 with Venus Ra,
Yeah,
entered.
sunod-sunod yun, no?
all of a sudden that began that another golden age in our pageantry. Um, that's why they stand out. It's because they're given all the love and the support of so many people.
It's really insane though. Like, if I watch the live stream of international competitions, like, bakit may Pilipino doon? Like, ang crazy. Like, when they call Miss Philippines, like, it's so noisy.
Yes.
And I'm like, sometimes in some countries where the Philippine population isn't even that high, I'm like, where did they come from?
Yeah.
But they show up. That's so interesting.
do.
Yeah.
And even some of the girls who competed, like there was one girl, Bianca Manalo in 2009, she didn't think there would be Filipinos in the Bahamas.
Yeah, I mean,
And
because
then
it's not really
suddenly-
a OFW hotbed
Oo.
or whatever.
But then
they
you think
showed
about
up.
it, teka, you have the people in the cruise ships and in the
Oh,
hotels.
So anyone who had a
Tas ang
chance
dami.
to go there
Yes.
went there.
And they really do support.
It's actually insane
Oo.
how, like, talagang the support is always there, right?
That's why part of us is like, where's Miss Universe? Like, part of you is like hoping sana Vegas ulit. Kasi madami
Para may
na-
chance na makapunta doon or makasupport
And
doon.
madami kasi doon na
Yeah.
Filipinos.
Yeah. So here to wrap up also, again, this is about, the show is about pageantry, the discipline behind pageantry, and I think that's something that's going to be interesting for people to look at.
Mhm.
And it's really not just about being pretty. There's so much hard work involved. Maybe to part, before I let you go, because you have busy lives, what attracted you and what makes you stay in this crazy world that is pageantry? Michelle first.
I think it's kind of what I was saying earlier about how you learn about yourself, you learn more from other people as well, and it really makes you feel good to be in a pageant, and it shows you that it's not just about looks, and life is never going to be like that. It's always going to be about what can you do for yourself, what can you do for others.
Well, for me, it started
How
out.
did you start? Yun nga. How did you start nga pala? I forgot to ask
Wait, what do
that
you mean,
of
like-
you. Like, what drew you into the world of pageantry?
Since I was a kid, I was watching them. I remember in 1984, Desiree Verdadero. And yeah.
Deep cut. I don't
Yeah,
know who that is.
with
Yeah,
my
I don't
I was
remember
with
her.
my family.
Okay.
They were watching Miss Universe, and then I was watching this television show, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm getting excited. I love this.
Yeah.
This is very exciting. And then from there, I was fascinated with the fashion, with the production numbers, with the cheesy production numbers, and I lived for those when I was a kid.
Yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
loved the national costumes. So all this while, it was all about that, like the pageant and the competition. It was very pretty, and it's like a Broadway musical every single time
Yeah.
you watch it. But when I started covering it, there was a shift of why it became important to me. I knew I was always passionate about pageantry, but that passion has shifted a little bit. I'm a very active person in our church with the single young adults, and where we mentor a lot of single young adults. And when I started covering pageants, I had little time for that because I'd be elsewhere.
Yeah.
But what I discovered was this became that new avenue where I can still mentor people
Yeah.
to guide the youth. Except they're 5'8", they're size
Very
2.
tall.
Oo.
Very tall youth, yeah. Yeah.
Parang may screening process to be in that. So I felt that would be a place where I have purpose. And I continue to do it and cover it because I do love encountering all these young women and hearing their stories and eventually being able to offer advice or
Right.
support in any which way I can.
Right.
And that's why now I really feel there's a bigger purpose to what I'm doing, and it's not just about the pageantry. And when I see them, when I go to the pageants, that's what I bring,
Right.
and I feel that's something that I will always carry.
Right. Thank you for joining us. It was a very
Thank
interesting
you
discussion.
so
Actually, kulang pa yun. But I think we're running late. So if they might want to catch you online, your Instagram or Twitter accounts, if they want to follow you, talk to you, interact with you.
Well, I have VoltaireTayag.com, and then my IG is Voltaire Tayag.
Yeah.
And of course, I can always catch like all the
Yeah.
articles in Rappler.
He does write for us all the time. Yeah.
It just feels weird, like suddenly like I'm on the other side.
No, this is literally like these are our conversations.
Yes.
On chat from time to time, like because it's really fascinating, and I'm not I haven't really been into the world of pageantry until recently. So it's fascinating to talk about it with you, and you also, parang, the insights behind.
And Rappler has done a very big part in promoting pageants
Right.
with the social media seminars and
Yeah.
with really just supporting all of them.
Yeah.
Because you're not just supporting pageantry, you're supporting all the women that
Yeah.
are involved in it.
And I think that's also key, like understanding the stories behind it. Like it's so fascinating. Like when you talk to each and every woman, parang ang fascinating na sobrang iba yung motivations
Yes.
for actually even being there, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, you have to follow. You have to. I'm sure like you work hard. Like it's insane the discipline that they have. So yeah, ako na nagsalita. Ako
Yeah.
na nag-interview
Yes.
ng sarili ko. But yeah, anyway, thank you for joining us, guys. The People's Queen is airing now. Catch it on TV abroad and in the Philippines. This has been Bea Copin. Thank you, Voltaire. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you.